Guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I am Milk and this is Milk Astrology, and today we are doing another weekly tarot prediction for the zodiac signs. I kind of took a peek at all of the cards before I started this video, and not gonna lie, this is probably going to be a bit more of a turbulent week, and I think everyone's going to be a bit more emotional. I do think it has something to do with the fact that the new moon is coming up and also Venus retrograde is coming up. So there's a lot of high feelings right now, a lot of intense emotions. So yeah, with that being said, let's dive right in. First up is air signs. I don't know why I always do everything in this order, but I just started doing it and then I never stopped. I would prefer that you apply your your rising sign, because I just feel like it's the most accurate and it depicts like your entire chart versus like your sun sign, which I don't feel is always the most accurate. But you can apply your sun, moon, Mars, Venus. I just would prefer rising because I just feel like that would be the most resonating, I don't know. And yeah, so air signs are Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. This is for you if you are an Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra rising. I have Two of Cups reversed, so this week you're not really putting yourself first. I think you're putting everyone above you. I think you're putting your needs or their needs above your own, and I do feel like you're kind of emptying your cup, you're kind of spilling it, and you're kind of putting other people in front of what you need to do, what you need to have. I think you're kind of making excuses as well for why this is okay. And I think it's important to put people first to an extent, but I also feel like if you give yourself nothing, you'll have nothing to give to other people. And I think that it's important to keep in mind. I also have Three of Swords. Three of Swords this week. So I do feel like you're taking a very big emotional hit right now. I think you're going through a huge transitional period in your life, whether this is affecting your love life or your family or your home. I do think this is more about other people though, so I think maybe you've had disagreements with people, or maybe it's been a long time coming where you're coming to the conclusion that someone in your life is just no longer a good fit for you. I do think that this is really disappointing though. I think that you're dealing with emotions of just kind of being taken aback, or like feeling like you're at a loss with what's going on, and you're very down on yourself. And then I also have the Sun reversed, so this is really heavy for you guys because you're really just going through it. I think you're taking a huge loss. I think you're kind of just down in the dumps right now and you're not really seeing a way out. I think something really disappointed you. I think you really wanted something and it just didn't work out the way that you thought it would. And instead of kind of picking yourself up and dusting yourself off, I think you're going through a very intense grieving period. And I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing, because I do think it's important that you take time to comfort yourself, because again, I feel like you've been spending a lot of time not really comforting yourself at all, or pretending like you don't have feelings, and I don't understand how that would help you in this scenario. But I do feel like you've just been really burning yourself out. I do think it's also really important that you understand you're allowed to have emotions, you're allowed to feel things, you're allowed to process things. It's okay if you don't do it in a way that someone else would want you to or expect you to. I think you're allowed to sit with yourself, because it seems like this whole spread for the week, you haven't really been putting yourself first at all. And I think it's important that you start doing things for yourself this week. I'm not saying that this is going to make everything go away, but I do think that this is going to make you feel better. I also have cards mirror who or what is triggering you. So again, with this spread, like, I don't think that you're having an easy time right now. And I think that you've been feeling extremely sensitive towards your surroundings and towards people in your life. And again, if maybe you haven't actually gotten rid of anyone in your life, maybe you haven't told them that they should leave your life, but I think maybe there's someone in your life that you probably should evaluate if you haven't already. And maybe that's what this spread is kind of foreshadowing. I think it's going to feel like a devastating loss, but I think it's also going to be one that needs to happen. And I think it's going to be healthy or good for you. I don't think that this is something that you want to do, because I think it's consuming your whole week. So it's a very personal or close bond that you have. It's not just someone that you randomly met and don't really care about. And then I also have full moon eclipse conclusions are within reach. So you're getting really close to this period or breakthrough of clarity, of closure. But again, I just feel like you need to allow yourself to go through the motions, allow yourself to admit when you're overwhelmed or when you feel like you've been putting so much time and energy into people and they haven't been giving you anything back. Like, I feel like you have a tendency to make excuses for other people's actions. You'll just be like, oh, it's fine, they're not in the right headspace, but they haven't been for the past year. I just feel like you need to stop making excuses for other people, and you need to start holding people to the same standard that you hold yourself. And I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be really challenging for you, but I think it's going to also be very rewarding, because it doesn't seem like this is a healthy dynamic. And I think it's going to be better for you in the long run. I just don't think it's going to feel that way for a bit. So yeah, really just take care of yourself, because I don't feel like this is an easy week for you. But I feel like it's one that needs to happen to help things get better. I know that sounds really annoying, but that's what I have for this week for you. So yeah. I go fly. Up next, we have Earth signs. If you are a Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus, preferably rising, this reading is for you. You don't have to be rising. You can be a Sun, Moon, Mars, or Venus. I would just prefer that it's your rising. And I have Page of Wands reversed. Now this part is interesting. I have the World upright and then reversed. And I like to use two different decks for these readings, because again, I want, like, if a message is important, it'll duplicate itself, and I feel like that it happened. So this is the first time that it's happened for me though in my readings with you guys, so I'm excited. So let's talk about these cards before I get into the oracle cards. Page of Wands reverse. It looks like you've been really putting your efforts and your energy into something, and I think you've been doing it perfectly. I think you've been going above and beyond. You've been meeting all of the standards and the guidelines of this, but I also don't think that the result that you're expecting or that you're hoping to have is the result you're going to get. And I don't think that it has anything to do with the effort that you're making. I feel like the effort is there, but I also don't feel like you understand that the end result is something that you might not even want. And I think you've told yourself that it is something you want. So yeah. And then the World reverse indicates there is some kind of closure with this. I think that you're going to redirect your goals or the things that you thought you wanted. I think you're going to change this around. I think you're going to identify maybe this thing that this has been like something that has really just been the sole purpose of motivating you for a really long time now. And I think you put so much energy into it, but I don't think that it's something that you should have. I don't think it's something that's good for you. And I also don't think it's something that you actually want. I think it's just something that you feel like you need to have. And I think you're going to reach some kind of resolution with this week. I think you're going to put it to rest. And that's a huge, this sounds kind of like light, but I think since you put so much energy and so much attention into it, it's going to feel like a direct hit to your ego, to your being. And I think that this is really important, that you take the time to really just be more careful with yourself and more gentle with yourself, because I don't think that this is an easy transition for you. You're letting go of something that you really told yourself that you needed to have, or that, it's been like your 10-year plan or something. Like you've put so much energy into thinking like, oh, I need this, oh, I want this. And then I think you're coming to a conclusion that you're allowing yourself to change your mind or to have different goals for yourself. And I think that's kind of like a bittersweet feeling that you're kind of embracing right now. Now, the World upright is positive, because I think despite all of this, when you ease up on the things that you thought you wanted and then redirect your energy into things that actually start to inspire you again or make you feel actually hopeful again, because I don't think that this situation, I think like this situation was something that you just believed you needed to do for so long that it just felt like secondary nature to you. It just felt like, oh yeah, like that's something that I want. And then I think allowing yourself to let it go, because it wasn't really something that like made you super inspired and gave you lots of adrenaline and made you excited. I think it was just something that you felt was like your 10-year plan. And I think when you let that go and you start freeing up your time and your energy to start putting yourself into new things that actually like speak to you and make you feel excited again, I think that's going to resonate a lot more with you, and I think you're going to feel like more like yourself. I think you haven't felt like yourself in a while, and I think this reading is saying like you're going to come back into feeling more like yourself again. So that's very positive, because air signs did not get a very positive reading from me this week. And then oracle cards I have is answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do? So again, with this whole reading, like you need to let go of the things that aren't actually what you want and admit that you don't want them anymore. Like you're allowed to change your mind. And earth signs are so dedicated. I think that's the issue here, is because when they feel like they are going to commit to something, or when they've said they're committing to something, they need to follow through. But I think you need to realize you don't always need to follow through, because sometimes the end result isn't the one that you want anymore. And you're allowed to not want things anymore. And then I also have New Moon in Virgo, a time to give rather than take. And this one's really interesting because I feel like with this whole reading, it's more about a self journey, like a self-discovery. But I feel like maybe it's something like a bigger picture. Like maybe you've been so focused on your career life that giving more energy into your family is important right now. Or maybe there's like a relationship dynamic that could actually be very healing and nurturing for you right now. But I think by giving yourself a break from being so focused on your 10-year plan and then putting other things into focus might be extremely helpful for you. And maybe it's something that you don't even realize that you want. But I think it ends up being therapeutic for maybe you and then people in your life as well. So again, just overall very hopeful, positive reading for you guys. And yeah, that completes Earth signs for this week. And now up next, I have fire signs. Fire risings, I would prefer you apply your rising sign, but you can apply Sun, Moon, Mars, Venus. And fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So this reading is for you if you're an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. And some of these cards, man, I don't know. So I have the Hierophant, but I also have the Chariot reversed again, and I'm pretty sure, now you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure like the last several week videos for fire signs, I keep pulling the Chariot reversed. So again, like this is about you guys needing to learn your lesson, because I don't think this is something that you've been learning. And then I also have Knight of Pentacles. So it looks like you've been really disorganized lately. You've been really stuck. And I think you've been really stagnant. Again, this is why you're feeling very like isolated and trapped. But I also think that you're not really applying yourself. And that sounds kind of like tough love right now, guys, because this reading is technically for me too. I'm an Aries rising, so I'm not just calling you guys out, I'm calling myself out as well. We're doing this together. But I do feel like this is saying like you have been kind of on your like BS for a while, and you need to like snap out of that. You need to put more focus onto the things that you actually want, or you actually want to see pay off, because you've been in this like weird circle of, oh, I'm like fatigued or I'm stagnant, and then just like using that as an excuse to also remain that way. And I think that that's why you've been in this rut for a few weeks now at least. And I also have the Hierophant. So I feel like with these two cards specifically and the Hierophant, I think that you need to humble yourself. I think you need to take notes. I think you need to allow someone to mentor you, allow someone to like guide you or redirect you, because I think you haven't really been focused on the right things for a while now. You need to redirect your energy, because I don't think that the way that you're going about things is something that's going to pay off for you. I think you need to go back into challenging yourself again, go back into learning again, go back into discovering things that actually inspire and fuel you in a positive or productive way. because right now you've just been kind of like laying around binging Netflix and putting off everything that you need to do. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like again, like this reading is for me too. So I definitely, you know, like we all can have places of improvement. And again, like with everything in the world right now, in our defense, it's not really like this is a great time where people just want to go and pack a briefcase and then set out on a voyage to do anything productive right now, because for one, we can't, and then two, it's just, you know, everything's heavy. And I think fire energy in general is just very collectively wanting to be lighthearted and focus on like excitement or joy for other people and experiences with other people. And you know, you've been quarantined, so in a lot of ways you're probably watching this reading and you're probably getting frustrated with me, and you're probably like, well, what am I supposed to do? And I think it's okay to sit with yourself and do nothing and to restore yourself and recharge. But I think this reading is saying you've kind of been using that a little bit too excessively, and it's okay to make your bed today. Like, bare minimum, make your bed, drink some water. Like, you can't just give up on yourself. And you need to, this week you need to kind of, you know, do a workout video for 20 minutes. Like, just remind yourself that you can move and you can be active and you can be productive this week, because I think you need to remind yourself that. And I think it's not something that's going to fatigue you as much as make you feel better about yourself. And I think it's going to surprise you that you feel better about yourself. I also have get grounded. Empaths, highly sensitives connect with nature. So again, like, maybe take a walk this week. Maybe you need fresh air. You've been sitting in bed like all week. Maybe you need fresh air. Like, this is, your headspace is funky, and I think fire signs can be very like all or nothing. And this spread is saying you need to stop doing nothing. And then step out of your comfort zone, North Node. So challenge yourself. Like, don't give up on yourself. Find something that inspires you, even if it's something really dumb, like a documentary on Netflix, even if, you know, baby steps, okay? I'm not telling you to go climb Mount Everest. I'm just telling you to not give up on yourself and to do something that makes you feel proud of yourself, because I feel like you've been so lethargic lately that you haven't been. And that's my advice for this week. This reading is for water signs. I would prefer you apply your rising, but you can apply your sun, moon, Mars, or Venus. Water signs are Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. I have 6 of Cups, so I feel like this week you've been really nostalgic. I think you've been really reflective as well about your past, and I think maybe you've been having weird dreams this week. I don't know why I feel that way, but I feel like you've been having weird dreams this week about your childhood maybe, or about your past. And I think that's just been really popping up for you. You also have 3 of Pentacles and 7 of Pentacles. So you've been really isolated with a lot of your activities or beliefs. I feel like you've kind of been working alone. Like, maybe the things that you've been doing, maybe you've been doing a lot of chores around the house and no one else has been helping you. Or maybe you've just been like kind of doing your own thing lately and you just feel really disconnected with a lot of people in your life. I also think it's weighing down on you more than you would like to admit, and I think you're the kind of person that you're so fiercely like protective of your vulnerabilities that you don't really like to cause attention to yourself when you're feeling upset or when you're feeling like lonely. And I think it's important that you use this as an opportunity to really connect with people or really reach out and try to make an effort. I'm not saying that you haven't, but I just feel like you might have this tendency of working alone or being isolating yourself and not really realizing it, and maybe people want to connect with you but you haven't really been giving them an opportunity, and then I think it's been making you like very lonely. I think you've been burnt out, and I don't really feel like you're in the right headspace right now. Again though, I do think that like maybe you should take more time to invest in the things that actually feel like they're paying off for you, because it seems like the things that you're focusing your energy on this week aren't really things that make you feel good about yourself or things that make you feel excited or optimistic. And I think that should be kind of like a red flag for you. I think you should kind of ask yourself, well, why is this making me feel this way? Because I don't know, I feel like if you think that something is a necessity, it should be something that benefits your life or adds something to your life. Not saying that everything that you do has to be beneficial for you, but I do think that something should feel rewarding. And if you don't feel that way, I think it's a good time to start looking around and identifying what you want, what you can do differently. And I feel like that's a good thing to kind of ask yourself right now. I also have, I have Miss Oracle cards. I also have be bold and make the first move. So again, like, you've been taking self-isolation to extremes right now. I think you've been using it as a reason to distance yourself from people that might not really deserve that. I think maybe the people that you care about have been backing off because they feel like they're bothering you. But I think you're taking it the wrong way, and I don't think that you realize that you could be pushing people away this week, the people that you don't want to push away. And again, I think that it's important that you admit that you miss people or that you need people, because I feel like you're in this weird headspace where you're trying to do everything on your own, but it's not fulfilling, it's not rewarding, and you're just kind of, you're looking around and you're like, where did everybody go? But you're kind of the reason why, and it's not even that you did anything wrong, it's just like you've been isolating, you've been pushing people away, you've been staying kind of like a hermit crab this week. And I also have break the chain. So ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. So I feel like maybe you've been reflective of your past so much lately because you are kind of being faced with this opportunity to break some cycles of your behavioral patterns, you know, ancestral patterns, family taught behavior. I feel like it's important that you really identify, what do you want, what makes you happy, and if that is what makes you happy, why are you pushing it away, or why are you telling yourself you can't have it? Because I think that that's something that you need to really identify with this week and kind of come to a conclusion about. I think you don't even realize half the time that you tell yourself that you can't have things, or that you don't want things when you do. And I think maybe there's a reason for why that is, but that's something that you need to heal and you need to kind of come to face with this week. And again, with the new moon coming up, I do think that we're kind of putting a lot to rest and we're going through a very reflective period. So that could also be why this week feels a lot more overwhelming than usual. But I do think that overall, this doesn't look like the scariest reading that I've had to do today. But I do think that you need to be honest with yourself and stop making excuses for your behavior. You're allowed to grow in the ways that you always expect other people to grow. So, not to be tough love, but just trying to help you. So yeah, overall that completes this video. If you liked it, if it was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. I post new videos every Saturday, Sunday, one of those days. And please turn on all of your post notifications to get all of my weekly updates. I only post once a week, so give me support, please. Oh, I always forget this part. Please comment below and then tell me what you think of this and last week's video, if you watched last week's video. And yeah. And I will see you in my next video.